Another day in the life. You pay the cost each and every morning on the rise, never falling down, only falling up. Stumbled upon greatness, albatross on my back, give me strength to move the weight. Push the pace in this rat race. Ain't no chance we taking second place. Italian stallion, when they move the cheese, we loyal to the creed like Michael B. Air with or without.
All right, time for another edition of that Panjandrum. All right, COVID season has been rough on folks. There's a lot of mental health issues. There's a lot of folks who are stuck trying to find a way to exist in the midst of all of this nonsense and shenanigans. So, considering where we're at with this, I want to take a moment to talk about the concept of wants versus needs. I feel like concepts like this are paramount to talk about in the midst of unexpected and unanticipated change, because these concepts speak to the fact that when change comes, change is uncomfortable. Now, some change is unanticipated, like the COVID restrictions and all of the unnecessary, just kind of feelings that come in concert with this type of change. So as folks experience this, obviously they're going to have a lot of mental health issues with this, because they're not getting an opportunity to be as physical as they're used to. They're not getting an opportunity to move in the way they're used to. And then there becomes this kind of this struggle for what makes sense, when and where, on a day-to-day basis. So with that being the case, we want to talk about wants versus needs. Now, when we talk about concepts like the Maslow's hierarchy of need, we have to deal with the things we need before we progress to the things we want. Now, in respects to needs, most folks, when they're in an uncomfortable space, they jump over what they need and then they go directly to what they want because they're uncomfortable. So when you're uncomfortable, if you don't have discipline in the midst of discomfort, then you're going to focus primarily on what you want. What you want. And that's why folks tend to increase their intake of comfort foods in the midst of uncomfortable scenarios. That's why a lot of folks have experienced unexpected weight gain during the pandemic. Folks also increase their intake of vices. That's why we've seen an increase in addiction. That's why we've seen an increase in some issues within the home, to where folks have been dealing with, again, a byproduct of circumstance. So, to not digress too far, we're dealing with wants and needs. So let's go back to that Maslow's hierarchy of need. When you don't address your needs before your wants, then your house is not in order in a proverbial sense, because you're spending your time focused on the things you want. You want this, you want that, you want this relationship, you want this level of respect, you want this, you want all these things you want, but you haven't built the foundation that will allow you to pursue those wants with purpose. So essentially, when you focus on your wants over your needs, or you address your wants or attempt to address your wants before your needs, then you're put in a position to where you are destined to be uncomfortable and unhappy. You are setting yourself up for failure. You want to be the VIP, you want to be the shot caller, but you haven't done the things that need to be completed before you're in a position to be that primetime player. You want this relationship, you want this level of interaction, but you haven't done the things you need to do to acquire what you say you want, because you haven't taken the time to look at the things that you want, what they require for you to have them. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, then we got a lot of work to do. If it does make sense, then we're moving at a similar pace and with a similar mindset. Because when you think that the things that you want come before the things that need to happen, then in most instances, you're setting yourself up for failure. See, I mean, we're in an instance where we have instant gratification via the internet, and in a environment where we have instant gratification via the internet, we also have opportunities for folks to sit here and find ways to cheat and hack systems so that they can move ahead and aspire for things that they're possibly not ready for. So we have very unhealthy information diets. Folks see folks doing extraordinary things, and they're desensitized to all of the work it took to get there. You know, it's kind of like that. There's a meme where it talks about the glacier and all of the work underneath the water you see in the glacier, and all you see is the tip of the glacier. You know, it looks sweet on top, but underneath there's all this hard-earned power and pressure underneath the surface. You know, it looks beautiful on top, but underneath there's this hard-earned stability and strength that cannot be tested by a little bitty boat or by a little bitty ice cube. You know, this is a glacier. So you got to work on building that glacier. And the only way to build that glacier is you have to build up from the foundation. No one's going to see what it took for you to acquire that foundation. You want to look beautiful on the surface, but you want your foundation to be built on solid rock, firm, hard, and undeniable. You cannot cheat Mother Nature and Father Time, expounding on my last one. They are undefeated. When you attempt to cheat Mother Nature and Father Time and go against biological imperatives, occasionally you may luck into nominal or temporal success, but in the grand scheme of things, you will be miserable. Focus on your needs. When you focus on your needs, then you'll find that the things you want will need you. And once the things you want need you, then you are on a trajectory to gain all of the things that are meant for you. And even if it's not what you wanted, it might be sweet and great and phenomenal. But none of that'll happen as long as you keep trying to cheat reality. So I want you to succeed, but to succeed, you're going to have to address your needs first, because your wants need things from you. And if you don't bring those things to the table, it doesn't matter what you want. It's a beautiful day. I want it to be sweet for you. I want you to live the sweet life. I want you to live that sweet life you dream about in your magical mind. I want it to go from your magical mind to realistic in this beautiful world that we all exist in. It was a 1 in a million chance that you were born. A lot of species didn't make it. All them sperm cells that impregnated that egg, most of them sperm cells didn't make it. It's a more than a million, but we'll say a million just because that's a fun, easy number. It's a 1 in a very large number chance for you to be here. That's a lot of zeros, and you're here. So I want you to live that sweet dream that you have. But I need you to focus on the things that need to happen first. So don't put your wants before your needs. 90+% of the time, it is a losing proposition, and I see enough depressed folks And I don't want to see you stumble down that slippery slope. I want you to fall up instead of falling down. I want you to be built up instead of being depressed. Food for thought, Panjandrum, Panjandrum. Beautiful day. I want you to live that sweet life, living that dream in your magical mind, that sweet life. Let go.